Hello, good morning. I feel like I'm obsessed with service stations. I'm back at them again. I'm on my way down to Bristol to check out the Circumstance Distillery. They also have a second distillery called the Psychopump Gin Distillery as well. These guys are awesome. They're anything but conventional. They're making a whole load of different whiskies and they're making rum as well. So it's going to be really interesting to get their thoughts on the British rum scene and to hear all about their production processes. So without further ado, let's get back on the road and go check out Circumstance Distillery. So they have taken the numbers off of their rum. Reason being, with their rum, they are no longer trying to do individual experiments in different styles of rum. What they're doing is a main flavour of rum, a consistent product that doesn't require to explain what batch number it was. So there's no numbers on this now, and let's find out how they make it. You can see the guys working behind me right now. They're emptying out the mash tun, all the grains that are in there that have been having their starches extracted into the hot water. They're now literally shoveling out the grains from inside that mash tun, and hence there's a steam coming out. It's this what we can smell in this room right now is the hot, starchy grain notes of malted and unmalted barley. And off it goes to local farmers. Liam, one of the owners here, just opened up some of their first ever batches of their various different whiskies and their rum for me. So we tasted their rice whiskey, and we tasted corn whiskey, and we tasted a rye whiskey out of the Andean oak, but it's not quite whiskey yet because it's only been in there for about 6 months in a 100-litre Andean oak cask. Phenomenal stuff. This is real experimentation. There's nothing conventional going on here at all. Behind me here is where they've got their gin production going on. Their stills have been taken down now. They've been distilling whilst I've been walking around. They've got two stills that sit side by side. They're doing their gin on this still here, and they're doing their rum and their grain spirits, their whiskey, over on this still here. So behind me we can see some of their casks. They've colour-coded them, which is really nice to see. The blue ones are barley. It's a mix of malted and unmalted barley. In the red barrels you've got rye whiskey aging, and then in the yellow we've got wheat, and then you can see the occasional rum cask as well. And these ones on the floor here are Andean oak. You've got 100-litre casks and 50-litre casks as well. And then hiding at the back we've got some 500-litre Oloroso casks. Well, they had Oloroso in them. Apparently they're not officially Oloroso casks because they didn't have the Oloroso in there for the length of time it would need to be called an Oloroso cask. Details. Yeah, so they're doing a lot of their aging of their rum. Fascinating, I think. They're aging it in these vats here, and they're aging it with these English oak spindles. These have been charred and toasted. They throw a load of these into the barrels to give it some aging, and then they redistill it. So that takes out any of the colour. So when you come across what looks like an unaged rum, it has some oak influence in it. It's just been redistilled to make it colourless again. Some really, really cool stuff going on here. One of the things that Liam was explaining to me was that, roughly speaking, 60% of your flavour is going to come from your casks and 40% of your flavour is going to come from your fermentation. Obviously, you can interpret that whichever way you like, but what they said is you can't really influence what's going on in your casks. You can, however, influence fermentation. So they spend a lot of time and a lot of thought process behind the length of fermentation, the type of yeast they're using, and they have been playing around with different grains. In particular, they pointed out to me that their rum is being made with a mead yeast, a yeast that's traditionally used for fermenting honey and creating mead, and that's where they're getting really exciting stuff being created here, and that's where they're playing around and being creative, is over in fermentation. That was an absolute revelation. Underneath the big number 2, that's Circumstance Distillery. No big branding on the outside. It's in an industrial little warehouse space. That's where Bristol Glass is there. There's like a kids playground space over here, half industrial, half residential. So unassuming, and yet the quality of what they're doing there is so good. So I've just got out of the Circumstance Distillery. I think they are producing such high quality liquid. I think they're an awesome team, awesome bunch of individuals working there, and it just seems like a really nice ethos for a company as well. They seem happy. Liam's got his dog on site. Awesome. So talking through production, they're obviously making gin, rum, and various different whiskies or grain products. They have a mashing vessel at the front, which looks like it's just over 1,000 litres, and then they've got individual IBCs in which they're fermenting things. IBCs, large plastic containers that they're able to do their fermentations in, and they're open top fermentations as well. Right by the entrance, which is significant because that's going to get air flow through it, so any natural yeast and bacteria in the air are going to get carried into it. It's going to influence the flavour and create variance. I can't speak highly enough of it. They do their fermentations, long fermentations, often up to 2 weeks long. They then take their fermentation and put it through their big still. The pot itself is stainless steel, but they've got lots of copper throughout the rest of it, and they are producing super soft liquid. They can set up the still in 4 different ways. They can use it just as a pot still. They've then got a 4-plate column. They've then got a 12-plate column, and then they've got a botanical basket as well. So they could put botanicals in there and have flavour going through it as well. Wow. Lastly, I just want to say thanks for watching. I hope this has been eye-opening. I urge you to seek out some products from the Circumstance Distillery and the Psycho Pump Gin Distillery over in Bristol. Really high quality rum being produced by them in a really unique and different way. I'm so excited that I found these guys doing it in the way that they are. Next week I will be over at Retribution Rum, so stay tuned for more rum revelations. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.